Hi guys, welcome to Yoga for Relax video. I have this cool lapel microphone so the sound is much better, but that means there's like a wire moving around, so I hope that's not too distracting. We are here in my new house, and outside is a beautiful deck where we do yoga in person on together. So if you're in LA and you're feeling like you want a change of scenery and to be around other people do yoga class, we're doing that Monday morning and Wednesday evening. So let me know if you want to join, or there's a link in the Patreon to sign up. Let's get started. If you have a blanket, grab it because we're going to use it later. So a blanket is good to have, and most people have a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, then maybe you can use a towel or some big piece of fabric that is like a blanket but not. So just find something that you can use because it's going to feel great. Let's get started seated, taking a few breaths. So you can sit any way you'd like to and just begin to breathe. Notice that you're breathing. You've been breathing all day. Just notice what it feels like to experience these deep inhales and these deep exhales. So lengthening the breath and slowing it down a little bit. Let's begin to move. Moving with the breath. Put your right hand down on the inhale. Lift your left arm up. And as you exhale, sweep it over the legs and go real gentle and slow. Inhale, reach your right arm up. You can open the chest up towards the ceiling if you want to. And exhale, sweep it down and forward. Let's keep going. Inhale, arm comes up. Exhale to come down. Inhale, arm comes up. Exhale to come down, and we'll just keep moving like this. Every inhale, arm comes up. Every exhale, it comes down, and notice like what you're starting to feel and what is starting to feel different, anywhere that's opening. Try to find a rhythm with the breath and the movement. We'll do this a few more times. Two more. Last one. Nice. Change the crossing of the legs. And a few seated cat-cows, hands on the knees. As you inhale, pull the chest forward, arch the back, look up, find as much openness as you can in the front of the body. And as you exhale, round the spine, chin to chest, lean back. Slow movements, long breaths. Inhale to lean forward, chest forward, head up. Exhale to bring it back. And again, I won't talk, I'll just let you move like this with me. So finding your rhythm, moving slowly. Take a few more rounds. As you lean back on the pelvis and the hips. As you lean forward, you roll forward on the pelvis and the hips. Couple more. Good. Last one. Great. Come back to center and come to sit on your shins. And if that's not comfortable for you, you don't have to. You can sit on a block, or you can sit any other way you'd like to. I'm going to face away from the camera to show you exactly what I want us to do next. You're going to bring the right arm up, put the hand in between the shoulder blades, and the left arm tries to touch the right fingertips. It might not. We're going to move with the breath. As you inhale, switch, and then take an exhale here. As you inhale, switch, and then take an exhale when you arrive. Inhale, switch, exhale to land. Let's keep moving. So just keep going, again, with the breath. Every time you come into the pose, maybe you're finding your way into it a little bit deeper. Maybe you're noticing something different happening. Here for 3. Here for 2. Last one. And let's release, get off our ankles, come into a tabletop position. As you inhale, arch the back, look up, cow pose. As you exhale, round the spine, look down, cat pose. Inhale, come through, arch the back, look up. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest, look down. Again, finding your breath, finding your own rhythm with it, keep going. Couple more rounds like this. And then pause when you get to center. Bring your hips over to the right side and look over your left shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, go the other way. Inhale, other way, so you're getting a neck stretch by looking over the shoulder. Exhale, other way, neck stretch, look over the shoulder. Hips are moving in the opposite direction of the gaze. And again, we're moving, so finding your own breath and finding your own rhythm with it. Good. Coming back to center, and let's just take a rest from movement in a child's pose, taking some pressure off the wrists. In your child's pose, bring your palms face up so that you're getting a little different experience in the shoulders. If it doesn't feel good to have the palms face up, just put them back down. We'll stay here and breathe for about 10 breaths. We're just trying to relax. Let your body get heavy. Hips closer to the heels. Release and let go. Stay in your child's pose for 3 or so more breaths. Come on up, tabletop. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. You can stay still. You can pedal out the feet. Take some time to move if you want to, or take some time to stay still. The air is getting cooler. Hopefully we can start getting cozy, having this relationship where we can really feel our body moving into deeper layers of relaxation. Deep breath. In your downward facing dog, bring your heels over to the right side and bend your right knee a lot
so that you're pressing the outer edge of the left foot on the ground so that you're getting a stretch in the left body. Right knee bent, left foot pressing on the ground. Coming back up to center, move your heels in the other direction. Bend your left knee, press into the outside edge of the right foot on the ground. We're here for 3. We're here for 2 and 1. Come back up to center. We're going to meet on our bellies. If you want to do it the easy way, come on down to hands and knees and just lower yourself down. If you want a little bit of a challenge for your muscles, a little strengthening, you can move into a plank pose and lower down for the count of 3, for 2, and 1. We're all on our bellies. Bring your arms down to the sides next to you and lift your chest up and look forward. Lift your arms up too, and if you want to go a little deeper, you can lift your legs up. We're going to breathe. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, reach your arms forward. It's a little work. Take an inhale and exhale, release down. Rest. Let's do it a couple more times. Hands come down to the sides. A couple breaths here as you lift up. Staying like this, or lifting your legs up too. Just stay. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bring the arms forward. Just one inhale to lift up and exhale to release down. Sometimes it's so nice to relax after you've done a hard thing, so just enjoy it. You can let the body get heavy. Take a couple more deep breaths. We're going to do this 2 more times. Lift up, arms and maybe legs. Stay for a moment. And then with the breath, inhale, arms come in front of you. Stay for your exhale. Come on down. Rest on your other cheek. Body's heavy. Last one. Inhale, lift, hold and breathe. As you're ready, inhale, arms come in front of you. Stay for your exhale. Rest. Bring the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling and just let the knees and the feet come from side to side. And then from here, the best twist. We'll hold it for a couple of minutes. Bring your left knee out to the left side like a frog leg. And actually, before we move into the twist, let's just stay here. Left leg is out to the side like a frog leg. You should be getting like this stretch in the inner left hip. Ideally, the front of the left hip is on the ground, but for most of us, it's lifted a little bit. So put your left hand on your left butt. And super gently, not hard at all, super gently, let the pressure of the hand and the arm press down and open up the front of the left hip a little bit more. Stay for a few breaths. Every exhale, the body gets heavier. Okay, now let's go into the twist. Right arm comes underneath left armpit. Keep your left knee where it is. Maybe actually bring it up or off the ground if you want to. Bring the left armpit over to touch the left ground. Walk your right shoulder over to the right a little bit. And breathe here. We'll be here for 2 minutes. If this twist is uncomfortable for you, then maybe it would be easier and better for you to stack the knees on top of each other. Maybe any type of other arrangement that you want to make with your body, make it. Otherwise, relax. Every exhale, just let the body get heavy.
We're just giving ourselves a little bit of time and a little bit of space to feel what we're feeling. Maybe it's not a great feeling. That's okay. Just allowing ourselves to experience what's actually happening gives us such a bigger opportunity to live our lives authentically. So just noticing, just feeling. Every exhale, let the body get heavy and observe. We're here for a little while longer. From here, roll onto your back. You might have to shimmy the hips towards the center of the mat a little bit more. And hug your knees into your chest. Good. And then move your hips from side to side so that the lower back is starting to feel a little action, a little stretching. I like to pull my knees really far into my chest to get my butt even a little bit off the mat to get even more of a stretch in my low back. But just take a moment to move like this a little bit, really rounding into the low back. And then grab the back of your thighs, and as you inhale, straighten your legs. And as you exhale, bend the knees and bring them into the chest. We'll do this a couple of times. Inhale to straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, bring them into the chest. Let's do two more. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, bring them into the chest. Last one. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees. Good. You can stay here, or if you want to go a little deeper, you can lift your head up, maybe ankles crossed, maybe grabbing shins, bringing the chin towards chest, head to knees. Good. And then from here, we're going to meet back on our bellies. So just flop over, finding your way back down to your stomach. And once you arrive on your stomach, bring your right knee out to the side. And we'll stay here for a moment in this frog leg. Put your right hand gently on your right butt just to use the pressure of the hand, pushing it down onto the butt. Getting a little more of a stretch and an opening in the front of the right hip. Be here for a couple more breaths. And then let's do our twist. Walking the right arm forward. Bring your left arm underneath your right armpit. Keep your right knee more or less where it is. It might come closer to the body. It might lift up a little bit. As you open the right shoulder up, try to touch the right shoulder to the ground. Then walk your left shoulder to the left a little bit to expand your chest. And then just make sure that this twist is a place you want to stay for a couple of minutes. You can make any arrangements that feel good to you to make. But we're here and we're breathing. Allowing yourself to take a little bit more of an inventory. Really noticing what you're feeling. Really just being in this experience. Take a few more breaths here. And then this time we're meeting on our bellies. So come back to your stomach. We'll release our lower back in a moment, but first come onto your forearms. Sphinx pose. Make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Bring your chest through your arms. Take an inhale here to bring the chest forward. And as you exhale, bring the left shoulder forward and look over your right shoulder. Inhaling, come to center. Exhaling, right shoulder comes forward, looking over the left. Inhaling, center. Exhale, look over the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, look over the left. Good. Come back. Brief child's pose, knees close together, hips to heels. And we're going to move. As you inhale, come up and come forward. Walk your hands forward a little and come as far forward as you want to. Maybe it's like a lazy up dog with the hips coming really far forward if that feels okay for the low back. If not, don't come as far forward. We're moving with the breath. As you exhale, hips come to heels, child's pose. Let's keep moving. Every inhale, you draw the body forward into some kind of gentle back bend. And every exhale, you release the lower back by rounding it and pressing the hips to the heels. Let's keep going. Every inhale coming forward, moving slow, long breath. Every exhale coming back. We'll do this about 5 more times. Go at the rhythm of your own breath. Couple more. The next time you're in your child's pose, stay there. And this is kind of a subtle movement, but bring your hips over to the left, like butt coming over to the left, and then bring your hips over to the right, butt over to the right. And then just move like this, like wiggle the butt from side to side, using your hands kind of as a helper. When the butt is over to the right, the left hand kind of draws you in. When the butt is over to the left, the right hand kind of draws you in. Keep moving like this, opening up a little bit through the inner thighs, the groin, and obviously getting a stretch in the lower quadrant of the back. Couple more. Good. And then once more, roll up into a tabletop, lift up your right leg, take a few circles, knee to elbow to shoulder and around. And then step your right foot outside your right hand. We're in a lizard lunge. We're going to move. Inhale, cow pose, arch the back, look up, shoulders down the back, bent knee. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine, bring the hips back so the leg is straightening a little or a lot. Inhale, glide forward to your cow pose. And exhale, gliding back to your cat. One more. Inhale, come forward. And exhale to come back. Good. Come back into your lizard lunge. Let the right leg come all the way out to the side, back down next to the left. A down dog for a moment, just to clear everything out. If you want to add on a vinyasa or do anything different here, you can. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Good. Down on hands and knees, left leg lifts, a couple circles with the hips. Step the left foot outside the left hand. You might want to walk the right knee back a little. Inhale, cow pose. Focus on the spine, arch the back. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine, bring the hips back. Maybe you straighten the leg all the way, maybe just a little. Inhale, draw yourself forward, cow pose. Exhale, draw yourself back, cat. Let's do one more. Inhale to come forward for your cow. Exhale to come back for your cat. Come back into your lizard lunge. Send the left leg out to the side and back down. Stay on your knees. Come into a puppy dog pose. It's like a child's pose, except your hips are lifted. And then prayer hands and bring the thumbs behind the neck. Walk your elbows forward and melt your chest down as much as you can. We're going to stay here and breathe for a little while. Again, if you can walk your elbows even further forward, this will give you a better stretch. My thumbs don't touch the back of my neck. That's fine, but they're just moving that direction. I'm feeling a pretty deep stretch underneath my shoulder blades. And I'm going to stay and breathe. Here for about 5 more breaths. Good. Gently coming out of the pose. Just find your way up to your seated position, and let's use this blanket or whatever you have. You're going to fold the blanket up to have it be kind of high, like a pad, like any kind of folded padding thing. You're going to bend your knees like how mine are, kind of stacked a little bit on top of each other, maybe a little apart, and you're going to rest on your left hip. You're going to put the blanket somewhere by the left hip, maybe touching it, maybe further away if you're tall. Right hand on the right side of the blanket, left hand on the left side of the blanket, right hand on the right side of the blanket, and then press into the hands and twist your chest over the blanket. So you're working on lengthening the spine, twisting the chest over the blanket, hips are on the ground so you look like me. And then you're going to come down onto your forearms, and you're going to try to rest your chest on the blanket. So that means you might need to walk your hips back or forward, so that you can get your chest down. And if you don't like your knees bent like this, you can straighten them out a little bit, do anything you want with the legs, but the hard part, or not the hard part, but what you're trying to do, what you're focusing on, is getting the right side of the chest on the blanket as heavily as the left side of the chest is. So you have to bring the right shoulder down a little bit, and then look over to the left side, so you're resting on your right ear. And we're going to stay in this twist. If this isn't working for you, move the legs around to make sure that you can kind of
feel a little bit better here. And working on the right shoulder being like just as heavy and secure as the left shoulder. If it doesn't feel good to rest on the right ear, if that's too deep of a stretch for the neck, rest on the left ear instead. We'll be here for a little while. To me, this feels very good. I hope it feels very good for you, but if it doesn't, know that you can just move to make it feel better. And we're breathing. We're here for another minute or so. Okay, guys, from here, you're going to press into the hands and gently roll up. Let's go right to the second side. So you're going to rest on your right hip. Knees are bending. Maybe stacked on top of each other, maybe a little apart. Blanket comes by your right hip, hands on either side of the blanket. Start by pivoting your left shoulder a little over to the left side. And then you're going to come down. Put your left shoulder on the blanket as much as the right shoulder is. This means you might have to walk the hips back. You might have to move the legs around. Like you're just going to have to adjust a little bit to kind of get to the space that's going to work. Rest on your left ear if you can, looking over to the right side. And if that's really uncomfortable for your neck, just look to the other side. Make sure you're settled into a place that works for you to be. And breathe. I'm here for another minute or so. Good, guys. Bringing the hands back to gently press into the hands to lift up. Swing your legs out in front of you and just give yourself a moment to feel what it feels like to be seated. Put your blanket on top of your legs, like fold it up as high as you can get it. And then bring your blanket into your stomach. So like it's like a little ball or something like that. Press it into your stomach as much as you can and lift your ribcage over it a little bit so that you're folding forward. And when you do this, you really get into the lower back and the middle of the back. The blanket is like pressing the back out so it's rounding even more. This should feel good. If it doesn't, you don't have to use the blanket or you can move it to do a different thing. Let your head rest, grabbing for ankles or feet or legs or whatever, but just focusing on the center of the back rounding and releasing a little bit. Take a few more breaths here. And then rolling up. Put the blanket aside just for a second. Bend your knees, soles of the feet on the ground, feet wide. And let the knees just move from side to side as you keep the chest lifted. So your arms are straight and the spine is like involved in what's happening. It's strong. As the knees just move, just kind of like a full body stretch, you can definitely add some little flourishes, extra movement, whatever is going to feel good here. And we're going to come to our last pose, and we're going to stay here for a while, and I'm going to leave you in it. So you're going to find your blanket again, and this time you're going to like unroll it a little bit so that you can roll it back up in a small cylinder shape, like a taquito. So rolling your blanket up like in a cylinder, and it shouldn't be that thick. Like this is about as thick as it should be. So if you have like a big blanket, you're going to want to like make it kind of long and rolled up, if that makes sense. So this is about as thick as it should be. It doesn't need to be this thick. This is pretty thick for our purposes. You're going to put the blanket on the back of the mat. And you want to make sure that your head is on the blanket too. So it might be, if you're short and the blanket is long, the blanket might be able to span the whole spine, but just adjust, it might come to the middle back. But so lay your spine down on this thing that you just rolled up on the blanket, so that one shoulder blade is on one side and the other shoulder blade is on the other side, right? So so the blanket is just in the spine. And then again, make sure that your head is on the blanket, because it's not fun to like have the head really far off. And then do whatever you want with your legs. I personally really like to cross my legs. Most people don't like to do that, but I do. Some people like soles of the feet together, knees open wide, especially if you have blocks, you can put them there. Maybe just straightening the legs feels good. Or if your lower back is like a little tender and this is like kind of intense, you can bend the knees, and this will make it really different and give you a little more support for your low back. If you're coming into this pose and you don't like it, just move the blanket to the side and just rest on your back instead. Arms are out in either direction. We're going to stay here together for 2 minutes. So letting the shoulders like, wow, get really heavy. Whole chest is opening, just kind of, again, being here and being present for how this is feeling. If it's not feeling good, like if it's feeling really bad, come out of it. But if it's feeling like a little weird, but maybe you can settle into it, then just try to settle in. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can bring your arms up overhead, grab a wrist and let your arms hang really heavy down. Make sure that the arms are like moving towards the ground here. And if this doesn't feel good, this makes it a lot deeper. So if it doesn't feel good, just come out of it and bring the arms back to the side. If you have your arms up overhead and you're grabbing one wrist, grab the other wrist.
just for symmetry. And then from here, guys, you can stay. Like, I would highly encourage you to stay for a couple more minutes if you can. This is such a wonderful place to be with so much opening. If you'd like to move on, get out of this pose, roll off to one side of the body. Just roll all the way down to the side. Bend the knees and round the back. So find like a little fetal position. Really find a curve in the spine. Stay there for a second. And then push yourself up. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Come to your seat. Take a couple deep breaths. Move around a little if you need to. And then bring the hands to the heart. Just notice how you feel. Again, just taking one more moment to notice how you feel. When we're in touch with our feelings, we're living more authentically. That's just so simple, but sometimes so hard. Take one more inhale into your own experience. And a gentle exhale to bow the head to close the practice. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I feel very relaxed. I hope you do too. Hopefully I'll see you here someday, or if not, I'll see you on the video. Bye.